But not for long, cause you'll get Jinx. Hello lovelies, it's Ray, and it's Monday, so time for another fanfiction Monday. And this time I actually got a treat for y'all. I have a treat. A fanfiction that I actually think is good. Alright? I forgot that I was reading this one. It's just kind of in my bookmarks for like months now. And I decided, you know what? I actually enjoyed this the time I was reading it. Might as well read it for y'all, cause it was interesting. It's a League of Legends fanfiction, by the way, called Piltover Stuggle. So you can already tell this is gonna be interesting. Let's do this. 6 a.m. The sun was just starting to rise. Jinx was awake, loading her belt with grenades and reloading fish bones and pow pow in her little cozy home in a Piltover warehouse a few blocks from where her two favorite officers, with Hat Lady and Fat Hands, were currently on duty. Today was a special day, and she would make sure she made it as special as she could for her favorite pink-haired bruiser. She walked over to a mirror, one she had stolen from Hat Lady's apartment the week of her arrival. It was big enough to let the sheriff fully view herself even with her big hat on. While standing there, admiring all her ammo, she sensed another presence in the room. "Today's a big day for me," the familiar figure in the mirror responded. "Yeah, well it is for me too. I got to blow stuff on Fat Hand's birthday. I might start with her house, or maybe the station. Ooh, or maybe Hat Lady's house, and then her house while she goes to check on Hat Lady, and then I'll—" "No, you will not, Jinx. Today I will make sure I go through with what I have to do, and that involves you going away, even if it's only for the day." Jinx's smile grew wider as her eyes seemed to glow with their devilish red glow. "And how, pray tell, are you going to do that?" Jinx started laughing maniacally at the figure until it suddenly disappeared. Jinx stopped abruptly, and then stared at the mirror for a few moments. "Ha! That's what I thought! Weak!" She walked over to the table where she was tinkering with her pistol. Zap! Charged it up and loaded to her holster. "This is going to be a blast!" Suddenly, Jinx doubled over and started to grip her head. A voice boomed inside of her head. "You want what's left of me? Fine, but today I'm going to see this through and me!" Jinx somehow got to her feet through the shearing pain in her head and stumbled over to the mirror and stared into her own eyes. She started laughing. Fine, buzzkill, sheesh. But after today, I won't let you again," she said. She continued to stare as her eyes slowly left their red glow and turned to a soft pink. She fell to the ground and sat there, breathing heavily to regain her composure. She looked at her hands to make sure it was real. "I'm back." She smiled and realized she couldn't waste any more time as the voice in her head said, "Clock's ticking, Jessie." She got to her feet and sprinted out of the warehouse, heading directly towards the Piltover police station. 7:30 a.m. Not even 8 a.m. yet, Caitlin was already at her desk in her office filling out paperwork for the damages done to the theater due to Vi's last rampage after Jinx. Vi came groggily dragging past Caitlin's office on the way to her own when Caitlin called out to her. "Enforcer, can I see you for a moment?" Vi suddenly straightened up and composed herself as she backtracked and walked cautiously into her boss's office. "Morning, Cupcake," she said with a sheepish grin. Caitlin glared at her, which sent shivers down Vi's spine. As tough as Vi was the life she had grown up in, the only person that could cause that kind of anxiety would be the sheriff of Piltover. $85,000 worth of damage to the theater in New Age Drive. Reports saying at one point while trying to apprehend a loose cannon, you resorted to, and I quote, "throwing every damn chair and object in the area at that blue-haired demon." Vi chuckled a little at the nickname for her arch-enemy. Caitlin found no humor in it and stared the enforcer down. Another chill went up and down her spine. "Gay! It's 'cause they're gay for each other. That's why." "Cupcake, come on, she was taunting me non-stop while at the same time, I might add, firing off pot shots with that damn zap gun of hers into the crowd." Caitlin sighed and pinched the bridge of her nose. "She followed you there after you thought it'd be a good idea to fight her in an enclosed space while she has explosives enough to impress Ziggs strapped onto a person at all times." She started feeling anger boiling as she knew she screwed up, but was not going to get berated for risking her own life to try and stop this demonic bluette. "At least I'm the only one out there putting my life on the line to stop her while you sit here and do paperwork half the goddamn day. It's not going to end, Sheriff. The paperwork's not going to end as long as she's out there. You'll never finish it all compared to how fast she racks up with her maniacal fucking destruction spree all across Pill." Caitlin stood out of her seat so fast it flew backwards, ramming against the wall. "You sit down right this fucking instant, officer, or I will personally relieve you of your duty and throw you from my building." Caitlin roared louder than Vi. Only a few times has Vi backed down immediately from a confrontation. When Jinx held Caitlin at gunpoint when she snuck into the apartment late one night, when someone gets directly hurt during one of her rampages after Jinx, and when Caitlin loses her temper at her to the point of cussing her out. Vi immediately sat back down, put her head down, accepting her berating. The one person she didn't want mad at her was her Cupcake. I ship it. Apparently Authorchan ships it too. Thank you, Authorchan, for shipping this beautiful couple of Vi and Caitlin. It is my League of Legends OTP. They are just straight up gay for each other. And Caitlyn is the top. Caitlyn is hella top. Anyways. I understand you want to catch her, so do I. But if someone isn't here doing the paperwork, we fall behind. When we fall behind, we lose funding. When we lose funding, we lose our jobs and the jobs of others. Without someone doing it, you won't have a job to even pay for the tune-ups to your damn power gloves or whatever. Vi got slightly annoyed at the mention of her gauntlets being gloves, but kept her head down and dealt with it. Jace, the defender of tomorrow, walked into the room sipping his cup of coffee. Hey, what's up, Jace? How's it going? Don't mind me, just getting my ass, like, chewed out. You know, normal and everyday stuff. Damn, Caitlyn, can you please hush a little? People on the third floor can hear you, and most of them are expecting to hear this building start to crumble. Caitlyn didn't understand what that meant until she turned to see Vi with her head still down, a tear going down her cheek, and her gauntlets powering up and humming. Caitlyn felt more anger at the fact her enforcer even considered striking her or this building, but when she heard Vi gasping for air after holding it in to stop herself from crying or yelling, she remembered the kind of person Vi was, and how she was currently forcing herself to sit there and be berated for risking her own life to help the city, day in and day out. The sheriff backed off and recovered her chair, sat back down, and started to speak. Vi. Vi quickly wiped her face with her gauntlet and let out a cough to try and play off the fact that she was just crying. I'm sorry. Vi jerked her head up with wide eyes. Cupcake never apologizes outside of press conferences with the mayor or commissioner or both. A cheeky grin grew across Vi's face, and Caitlyn could only blush a little to hide her face. Vi burst out laughing at the moment, and Jace shook his head smiling. Caitlyn regained her composure and sternly looked at Jace. Shouldn't you be in the lobby helping with organizing the computers, Officer Jace? Jace replied with, Honey, I'm not an officer, I'm a defender. Defending! Look at all this defending I do! Totally not useless, actually. I'm pretty sure he's a strong champ. I don't know, I don't play top lane. I don't fucking know if he's a strong champion or not. We're gonna assume that he's not, seeing as this was my get valiant pose for him. Hair flowing, I don't have enough hair on this side. Hair flowing in the wind. I still don't have enough hair on this side. Fuck. He struck a valiant pose as he said the last words. After a few moments, Caitlyn and Vi shared a look, and while still in his pose, he was quickly snapped out of it by a familiar humming sound. Next thing anyone knew, Jace was sent flying down the hall towards the lobby thanks to the excessive force from Piltover's enforcer. And don't call her honey again! Vi yelled down the hall. When Jace got back up, he was indeed in the lobby and was impressed at Vi's aiming. An officer quickly ran up with a frantic and desperate look on his face. Where's the sheriff and enforcer? I would not bother them at the moment, Jace advised as he rubbed his jaw. What is the matter? The officer handed him a pair of binoculars and directed him towards the front window. You have to see for yourself, replied the officer. Jace took the binoculars, looked out the window, and immediately yelled at the room. Someone get me my hammer now! Several officers scrambled to the stairs to the second story where Jace's office was. Shit, I need to get Vi and Caitlyn now. He turned and sprinted up the stairs to get his gear ready to go. Come on, you know you want to blow something up or hear the pleasing screams of innocence, the voice inside her head was saying. Jinx was walking down the sidewalk fully clothed in a hoodie and jeans to hide herself for the time being. No, I do not. I thought you'd keep quiet for the day, she said to herself. But that'd be boring. And I said I'd let you have your fun, not that I would keep quiet, so ha ha, replied the voice. As they turned the corner, the Piltover station came into view. Wait, what are we doing? We're gonna blow up the Take Back Tomorrow's office, aren't we? I know you couldn't resist. Quick, get our flame chompers, the voice said with glee. Jinx continued to walk for another block, only 2 more blocks until she reached the station. After no response, the voice prodded again. Hello? Got ears in your head, don't you, dumbass? I said get the chomp! Jinx suddenly picked up the pace, and the voice in her head had realized her intentions. What? No! Are you trying to turn us in? Fuck you! No, that's not my idea of fun! How can I blow up Fat-Hand Hat Lady's house if I have to break out of prison with no weapons? Don't get me wrong, I can do it! It might take a few weeks, but still! They were 1 block from the station. Jinx stopped and took off her hoodie and jean, revealing her usual skinny leather belt bra and short shorts lined with ammunition. She tied her hair back up with her pigtails and continued to walk down the last block. People around, realizing who she was immediately by the blue hair and lack of clothing, started to panic. People yelled for the others to get off the streets, and parents were grabbing their children and abandoning their cars just so they didn't have to waste the extra 3 seconds to start it up. Suddenly, Jinx stopped and felt all of her muscles tense up and almost started to work against her. She felt her grip on reality started to slip a little. I'm not letting you ruin my fun, but thank you for using patience I don't want to use to get me close to the station all stealth-like so I can start my day right, with hell of explosive everywhere! How I always start my day right. Wait, but first I actually gotta go back and get more bombs. Damn it! Oh well, on my way back I'll just blow up a path for myself. Jinx struggled to keep walking towards the station. It was like walking through quicksand. She could feel the resistance, felt her mind going blank, but she kept putting one foot in front of the other. Just shut your fucking crazed mouth, you bitch! You're not going to ruin this for me or Fat Hands, using her nickname in a mocking manner to the voice in her head. Ooh, you think you're Miss Funny Shit now, don't you? Well, ha ha ha, I'm not laughing. Well, I was, but it was a fake laugh, but you get my point. Now turn the fuck around already. Jinx tuned out the voice for once in her life and kept struggling to reach the front door of the station. Vi was still in Caitlin's office, Caitlin making her sit down and give her signature on some forms that required both of theirs. Cupcake, I'm losing my damn mind here, Vi moaned. At least your name is only 2 letters compared to my full name. Vi chuckled at her and Caitlin pointed back at the forms for her to sign. So what are your plans for the day, Enforcer? Asked the sheriff. Vi thought for a moment. Why couldn't that little wench just waltz into her jail cell or quietly go back to whatever hellhole she came from? Vi sighed and replied, hell if I know, probably just go beat up some alley gangsters. Caitlin sighed and thought to herself, this is the 3rd time she hasn't remembered. At least it makes surprising her easier. Caitlin decided to go for it. You should come by the pub later for a drink. I'm thinking of closing station early so we can all have a little relaxation from the recent events. Obviously meaning Jinx. Vi stared at her with a confused look. Cupcake, you don't drink, nor do you even like walking into bars. What gives? Caitlin, realizing her slip, and blushed a little, trying to redirect the conversation. Nothing, just figured you'd like bars, so I deal with it for the sake of the station. By the way, are you done with those forms yet? Before she can finish, Jace knocked on the door. Who's there? We're busy with work in here, yelled Caitlin. It's me, Hunt. Sheriff Caitlin. Jace caught himself knowing Vi would gladly smash through this door if he called Caitlin honey again. Even Caitlin wasn't aware of Vi's crush on her and the horrific jealousy issues, but she was so absorbed with work and papers that he was surprised she remembered to eat and sleep. She probably did hardly of either now that he thought about. Wait, what was he doing? He was wasting time. Enter, Jace, replied Caitlin. Jace opened the door and had a quite pale expression on his face. He looked directly at the Enforcer and asked, Vi, I'm curious. During your encounters with Jinx, was there ever a time she would just, oh, I don't know, present herself to you like she was giving up? You know, hypothetical situation over here totally did not just happen. Vi's mind raced at past memories of Jinx, tricking her into some of the most violent explosions she's ever been in thanks to the baiting tricks. Sometimes Jinx would even hold her arms out and challenge Vi to see if she could knock her out in one punch. Other times, she'd pretend to trip and fall, only to lead the Enforcer into a flame chomper, which would blow up and cause a chain reaction, resulting in half of a building falling on top of her. Vi got serious with Jason and replied, yeah, she has. Always end up at least half a building being decimated. What of it, buddy? You here to taunt me about it? She stood up and quickly equipped her gauntlets. Jace wasn't fazed because he had just heard from Vi, making him go even more pale, and ignored Vi's advancements towards him. When she got near him, she pushed him outside into the hall and raised him up against the wall, got in his face and snarled, I said, are you here to taunt me about a dickbag of tomorrow? Dickbag of tomorrow. I like that name a lot. I'm gonna start calling him that. Jace got angry and realized it had been an entire minute since he knocked and the time was not on their side with the approaching advancement of someone outside the station. Vi, look at me right now, and you and Caitlin go up to the lobby this instant. This is urgent. There is no time. He didn't want to tell them fully yet because he thought it'd at least be funny for him if they saw it for themselves. Vi did let him go, but put her forehead against his and growled low. And what if I don't like being told what to do? Caitlin intervened. Vi, that's enough. Jace continued. Then you can stay and flirt with your girl. Vi charged up her vault breaker and growled much louder now. Jace continued quickly. While Jinx continued to walk down the street directly towards the station. Color left Caitlin's face and she stood there with her hand over her mouth. Vi stared wide-eyed at the defender, face in pure disbelief. The hall was silent for what seemed like an hour, but only was really 10 seconds. Oddly specific. That was very specific timing, just seemed like an hour. There was only 10 seconds. Someone like counting the seconds down like, yep, that was 10 seconds of silence. Yep. Jace walked past the two of them while they were still frozen for a second to process what they were just told. Jinx? Walking directly towards the station? She has never done anything this risky before. What the hell was going on? Caitlin snapped out of her trance when Jace pressed her rifle into her arms and walked over and knocked on Vi's gauntlets to snap her out of it. Vi continued to stand there for a moment, and then her mouth twisted into a smile that might rival Jinx's. Vi straightened up and walked surprisingly calm down the hall and towards the front doors of the station. Why the hell is she here, today of all days, so early? Thought, and now adrenaline pumped Caitlin. She loaded her rifle and sprinted past Vi to the lobby and stared out the window at just what Jace described. A blue-haired, barely clothed, ammunition-lined demon walking surprisingly hesitantly down the last stretch of road before she reached the parking lot of the station. She turned to see Vi reach the front doors of the station and stare out. When her gaze rested on Jinx for the first time of the day, her first words were, "Get dunked!" Caitlin and Jace, now equipped with his mercury hammer, a nearby officer had arrived with and already dressed in his full metal gear, both heard it and turned to see Vi charging her right gauntlet and blow the front door clean off the building and into the open world. She let out a guttural roar at the top of her lungs, now in a blind fury, before Caitlin and Jace followed her in a charge. Jinx! Going all Super Saiyan over here. You know, like Super Saiyans, they scream for power. Well, that's what Vi's doing. Is Vi a Super Saiyan? Is Vi a Saiyan now? Like, screams for power? I'd like to believe that. 8:15 a.m. Jinx continued walking down the street, so close to the station while the voice in her head tried to resist. How are you just resisting all of a sudden? You've never been like this. Usually just let me handle things and blow things up and then we both feel better. What the fuck is the deal now, huh? Huh? Hey, I'm talking to you! Shouted the voice. Jinx ignored the voice and arrived in the parking lot as she heard and looked up to see the front doors of the station flying off the hinges and smashing into a nearby car. When she looked by at the entrance, her gaze met Vi's. For once, she wanted to smile sincerely, but that urge was cut short by the roar of her name from Vi's throat. Jinx! Roared Vi as she, Jace, and Caitlyn all erupted from the station towards her. Jinx pulled out her zap pistol and swiftly ducked under a swing by Jace, kicking him in the back of the knee to make him go down. She sprang back up and quickly dodged a vault breaker by Vi and bending her back Matrix style. She heard a faint click, and she soon turned to see Caitlyn load a round in her chamber and her rifle, now resting in the back of another car aimed at her. She ducked behind a car and the bullet smashed in the headlights of the car. She's aiming for my legs, trying to incapacitate me, not killing me. Although I can't say the same for Vi and Jace. Her thoughts were interrupted when a car next to her exploded from a shot fired by Jace, now using his mercury gun mode. The blast blew her back into another car and she smashed into the windshield and bounced off. Struggling to her feet, she saw Vi leap off another car and dive straight for her. Jinx, still holding her pistol, fired at Vi's gauntlet and short-circuited it. That didn't stop the Enforcer's momentum as she collided with Jinx's sternum, sending her flying across the parking lot and skid against the ground. Aberrations and cuts lined Jinx's legs, arms, and back now. She stood up and fell back down to the ground as a bullet grazed her shoulder, courtesy of the sheriff. Something's not right here. She's taking all these hits, didn't aim for Vi directly, isn't laughing, isn't throwing explosive, or even smiling. She seems to be honestly fighting for her life, thought Caitlyn and Jace. Vi was still in a blind rage, swinging wildly at the Bluette, while the Bluette could still swiftly dodge the strikes, but just barely as the onslaught of shots from Caitlyn and Jace in an attempt to flank her. I need to get a moment with her, but these fuckers are in my way, thought Jinx inside her head to herself. She kicked Vi in the ribs after another missed vault breaker and unloaded every charge in her zap pistol on Jace and Caitlyn. One shot caught Caitlyn in the leg and she went down. Jace's hammer short-circuited from 4 or 5 shots and the 6th hit him dead in the throat. They both dropped to the ground, unable to recover quick enough to counter. Jinx knew this was her chance. She stood in front of Vi, who was on her feet, charging up the last working gauntlet. Jinx removed fishbones from her back and rested on her shoulder. Caitlyn and Jay struggled to their feet and took cover. Vi held up her broken gauntlet in defense and kept charging. But while they thought she fired, she instead threw the launcher to the ground. Vi immediately stopped. Caitlyn and Jace immediately popped their heads up and sobbed and couldn't comprehend what was happening in front of their very eyes. Jinx continued to de-arm herself, removing Pow Pow from her side and sliding him near Jace. She threw her pistol near Caitlyn and dumped all her grenades on the ground. She held out her arms in a surrender pose. The whole area stood silent for almost 5 long minutes. Nobody spoke. No one even moved. Jinx started to get worried that something was up. Are they surprised I would give up? What kind of reputation do you leave me, Jinx? She thought to herself. I surrender and hereby turn myself over to the police, specifically into the custody of Enforcer Violet of Piltover. At the mention of that name, Caitlyn's jaw dropped as she fell to the ground and Jay stared wide-eyed and quickly understanding Caitlyn's reaction to the statement. Vi just stood there, frozen, staring into the now light pink eyes of a girl she had been chasing for an entire year. How did she know my real name? Was the only thought Vi could muster inside her head before charging her gauntlet past this limit. The gauntlet started to spark and smoke was coming from the inside. Vi, please calm down. You have to stop. Vi charged towards the vulnerable Jinx with such force the ground beneath her feet broke apart. How did you know that name? Screamed Vi as she collided with Jinx with an excessive force so intense it knocked Vi herself on her ass from the recoil and sent Jinx, who never moved to defend herself, flailing up through the window of the police station and into the front desk of the lobby. Officers dodged around, avoiding the sharp-nose glass and body flying through the station. Caitlyn just stared at the hole in the window, then to Jace, who met her gaze, then back to Vi, who did the same, but with a face still filled with fury, then back into the window. What the fuck? Said Caitlyn as she got up and sprinted, Jace close on her heel towards where the loose cannon landed. Ah! I need to actually reread this entire story because I enjoy it a lot. That was Piltover Stuggle. I think I liked it more because it kind of gave more of a cool little headcanon on like Jinx, the loose cannon. Get it? Anyways, Jinx and Vi, and like maybe why they have the relationship they have, and of course making Caitlyn and Vi hella gay, like hella gay. Yeah, I actually don't have much commentary on this because this wasn't. I think it's probably the first fanfiction that I've read on this channel that isn't. That I either don't be like, this is garbage, this is bizarre, this is like the writing shit. This is one I actually genuinely like. And like, not like as in like, it's so bad that I love it. Like the Grand Theft Auto one that I loved because it was just so bizarre. But like, I actually liked it because I actually thought it was good. Maybe I should read more good fanfiction on this channel. Maybe. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, check out my other videos, recommend me stories. Let me know what you think of this story in the comment section below, because I really am curious what y'all think of the stories that I read, and also what else you can recommend me, because I always need more stories to read. Don't forget to make bad life choices. I'll see y'all next time. Goodbye, my lovelies.